You walk into a bar and order a glass of tonic water. It sounds elegant, even healthy. In English, the word tonic suggests vitality, medicine, or something that strengthens the body. But if you drink it every day believing you are taking care of your health, you may only be feeding diabetes. Because the drink that once saved people from malaria now contains as much sugar as a can of Coca-Cola. Why did this happen? Because tonic water is no longer a medicine, it is the commercialized memory of imperial-era healthcare. It keeps the packaging of an old promise while quietly replacing the soul inside. In the past, tonic symbolized survival, an intensely bitter compound that protected British soldiers from mosquito-borne disease. Yet in consumer culture, that bitterness has been softened with sugar, carbonation, and a polished image of sophistication. We are drinking something that was once a toxin used as medicine, now marketed as a wellness drink. It is such a refined illusion that only by combining history and chemistry can we fully unravel it. So how did a survival drug become a common mixer? The answer lies in 3 stages: flavor, standardization, formula redesign, and functional redefinition. During the 19th century, as the British spread gin and tonic culture throughout their colonies, bitterness, once an evolutionary warning sign, transformed into a class symbol. At first, people learned to tolerate bitterness out of fear of death. It was the price of avoiding malaria. Over time, however, bitterness became associated with experience, refinement, and cultivated taste. Science calls this phenomenon acquired taste, a flavor preference shaped by culture and social context. In Victorian society, when the middle class tried to emulate aristocratic habits, appreciating bitterness became a signal of status. The beverage industry understood this deeply. Companies like Schweppes and Fever-Tree were not just selling mixers, they were selling a feeling of adulthood, light bitterness, fine carbonation, and luxurious gold and silver labels were carefully designed to evoke maturity and power. Thus, a paradox emerged. What once made people grimace became a symbol of elegance. Bitterness, once a survival warning, was re-engineered into the language of consumer culture. The 20th century brought a revolution in food safety, as organizations like the U.S. Food and Drug Administration (FDA) emerged. Strict limits were placed on compounds with pharmacological effects. Quinine, once a life-saving drug, became classified as an alkaloid with potential neurotoxicity if consumed excessively. The result: beverage companies were forced to reduce quinine to trace levels about 83 milligrams per liter, far below therapeutic doses. Essentially, tonic water no longer has any real medical function. But that created a new challenge. Without strong natural bitterness, the drink would taste flat and unappealing. The solution: sugar, lots of it. Manufacturers added fructose syrup, artificial flavorings, and CO2 carbonation to compensate for the lost flavor. A typical can of tonic water contains around 8 teaspoons of sugar, comparable to Coca-Cola, yet it is still marketed as refreshing and stress-relieving. Consumers believe they are making a healthy choice, when in reality, they are drinking a sweetened version of a once bitter medicine where medical function has been replaced by emotional appeal, comfort, luxury, and the illusion of wellness. So why does tonic water still exist? The answer lies in mixology, not medicine. Today, tonic water rarely stands alone. It truly comes alive only when paired with gin. In modern bartending, tonic acts as a neutral chemical base that enhances the botanical flavors of gin, juniper, citrus, cardamom, and more. The mild bitterness of quinine works as a palate cleanser, allowing drinkers to perceive complex flavor layers more clearly. Meanwhile, carbon dioxide bubbles help lift aromatic molecules toward the nose, a physical mechanism known as volatile release, where pressure from bubbles disperses scent compounds. In other words, tonic water no longer exists as a standalone beverage, but as a technical tool of the bar industry, a flavor broker that supports rather than competes That is why tonic survived even after losing its medical identity. Its role evolved from saving lives to shaping emotion and aesthetics. And in the consumer world, that function can be more powerful than medicine itself. The tonic water you see today is a historical artifact that has been carefully sanitized. The bottle remains clear. The label still says tonic. But inside, it is no longer the substance that once saved millions. Its story reflects a familiar rule of modernity. Any product can live forever, as long as its essence is recycled into a cultural symbol. Tonic water was once the boundary between life and death, between science and nature. Today, it stands at the boundary between meaning and marketing, a quiet witness to humanity's ability to turn even medicine into merchandise.